This is Thank You Mama, weekly lessons from mothers all around the world. Hi and welcome to Thank You Mama. My name is Anna Teider. My guest today is Maruska Strah. Maruska is originally from Slovenia, and Maruska works in space law. Maruska, great to have you here. Hi and welcome.
Hi, Anna. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk to you. And first and foremost, please tell us about space law. What is it?
The way I got into space law was really interesting because I read one chapter on international space law when I was doing my master's, and I fell in love. It was love at first sight. And that was the moment I knew what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I do not regret anything since. These are all the things that, follow everyone every day, but we don't think about them as much as we should, at least. The fact that we can have this conversation right now is also dependent on space and space law and space policy and regulation, because it's communication satellites. You cannot just ship something to the orbit and expect it to be there without some legal background and knowing what's actually happening. And now with more countries being present in space and launching capabilities, and with the emergence of nano satellites and really, really small satellites, not those huge boxes like we had 50 years ago, it's really necessary that countries work together and discuss these things and come up with ways that it's more accessible to everyone and still maintain proper regulation and law and policy that basically ensures that not only space and planets and everything outside of the Earth remains safe and protected, but that also we on Earth are okay.
Mm-hmm. Maruska, is there an international organization that deals with it? How do countries get together and discuss this? In which shape and form?
So yes, there is. It's part of the UN. It's called the Office for Outer Space Affairs.
Mm-hmm. Where is it based?
It's based in Vienna. Mm-hmm. I used to be an intern for this office, and it was the best experience ever. I wish I could be an intern forever.
So what is your job today?
Right now, I am working as executive director of the World Space Week Association. Mm-hmm. The UN in 1999 declared World Space Week to be held every year from 4 to 10 of October. Mm-hmm. Every year. For the past 20 years, we celebrated World Space Week. And my association is coordinating the World Space Week. And we take care of the outreach, the capacity building, and everything that is basically happening behind the scenes of this week. Mm-hmm. So in 2012, there was just above 1,000 events happening all around the globe in that week. Last year, we had over 8,000. This year, we saw around 9,000 events.
That's events about space law or
about
space. Oh, wow.
Space.
Okay, good. So we are talking about space now. And Maruska, you just told me you are planning to start a PhD?
If I got accepted, yes. So fingers crossed. I just submitted my application for a PhD program here in Vienna. I would like to focus my research on space traffic management.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, we're crossing our fingers. I'm sure my listeners are crossing their fingers too.
Yes, please send good thoughts, because this is something that I wanted to do for almost 10 years. I always planned to go and do my PhD, and now the stars are aligned, no pun intended. And I actually know what I want to dedicate my research to. And I have a very clear picture of what I want and how I want it. Mm-hmm. And I finally put together my proposal and got my courage. And I was like, you know what? If they say no, then they just said no. But I had to take a step forward.
I'm so excited for you. I remember sending my proposal in, and it was so exciting. It's beautiful. Wait for the acceptance letter. It's going to be awesome.
I hope you're right.
Maruska, how did you come from Slovenia to Austria?
So that is another interesting story, because I moved to Austria after I finished elementary school. So I was 14, 15, and I randomly discovered a bilingual high school in Carinthia. And while I discovered the bilingual high school, my family and I went to check it out and saw that it's not just the bilingual high school. They actually have a program for minorities, for the Slovenian minority in Austria, Italy, and for students from Slovenia that were all in one class. And it was called the Kugi class. And I became the part of the first generation. You know, it was languages, it was different cultures, it was different people coming from all over, basically, in that tiny school in Carinthia.
So it was a boarding school. Did you leave did you have to leave your family behind?
Yes, I was staying in a dormitory, which was definitely an experience that I would not recommend, because my parents were way more fun. Yeah, so after spending high school abroad, it only made sense to again to make a step forward. And my mom told me about Webster in Vienna,
Webster University.
Yeah, and it just seemed so natural.
Yeah. And now we have to, which we didn't do earlier, for my international listeners. And I discovered yesterday, Maruska, I have listeners from 57 different countries. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
Isn't it incredible? So
awesome.
Let's tell them about Slovenia and where Slovenia is, because we're chatting around about Slovenia and Austria and Italy. Can you just place it on the map for people and tell them a little bit about it?
So it's nestled between Italy, Austria, Hungary, and Croatia. It has the ideal geographical position, if you ask me, because there's everything. The sea, the lakes, the rivers, the food is good, the wine is delicious. I mean, when it comes to nature, this is the place to go. And because it's so small, it has 2 million people. It's really, really small. So almost everyone knows everyone. And everything is accessible. We are all used to travel, which also explains how it's possible. It was so easy for me to just move around and, go to other countries and just, find my place there.
And we should tell the listeners that actually you and I were born in the same country.
Oh, yes.
Because back then it was Yugoslavia. After the Second World War, it became Yugoslavia, which was created out of 6 different republics. I was born in Croatia. You were born in Slovenia, which are neighboring, as we heard from you. And the country, with the fall of the wall and the Iron Curtain, the country fell apart in 1990, I believe. And the republics became their own little countries.
Little countries, but big characters.
Yes.
What I keep saying, and I wonder if people actually listen, is that you can be small as long as you're mighty. I wish that Slovenians would recognize the fact that just because the country is small, they don't have to be. They really don't have to be.
Yeah.
So that is probably my favorite thing about the countries in the Balkans, that the characters are big.
I know.
And loud and colorful, and I admire that.
Crazy people.
So much. Well, that's one way to put it. I was trying to be diplomatic.
I love it how my husband is in love with the volcanic part of my character. He's like, oh my God, you guys. Anyway, let's jump to Mama. Let's talk about Mama. So what I noticed is your mama's name is Zlatka. Zlatka Kralj, you said. So it's interesting that your second name means, Strah means fear, and your mom's second name means king. You guys have awesome second names. And she's a Goldie king, because Zlatka is Goldie. It comes from Zlatno, which is gold. So she has quite an awesome name, Goldie king. Did she conquer the world with that name?
My mom is, she's from another planet. She's just not made for all the bad that humans are doing to each other. She's just, I know that it might sound idealistic, but my mother is pure heart.
So tell me about her. She was born in Slovenia.
She was born in Slovenia. So her dad was killed when she was 2 years old. So my grandmother stayed with two small children, with my mom and her brother, who was 2 years older than her. So it was not always easy for them. And my mom is, on top of being really, really soft and a good person, is also crazy smart. My mother was writing her poems when she was 4 years old. My mother was always an exceptional student. Her brain always worked in, on high speed, and always came up with something, interesting and different. So when it was expected from her to maybe finish high school and become a secretary, my mother was like, no, and went to med school. So my mother today she's a doctor. She's a family doctor, general practitioner. She has her own practice. She works at the ER, and she's a psychotherapist.
Oh, amazing. So she's a double doctor.
Her whole life revolves around helping people.
Beautiful.
Right now, we've been having these conversations since March on a daily basis. Can you please stop working? I'm a doctor. You're also a mother. Yeah, but I'm a doctor. Yeah, but you're also a mother. I have to help people. Yeah, but you have daughters.
So how many children does she have?
So it's me and my sister.
Okay. Is there an exciting story about how she met your dad or anything about that? Or was that just like they met and fell in love and got married and had 2 kids?
They met and fell in love and never got married because my mom is interesting, and she said no to the proposal. And then she said no for the second time, and the third, and the fourth.
Oh, wow.
And then she said yes, I think, for the 5th time when I was sent out with a ring as a toddler, and in public. So she said yes, but never got married. And then they broke up, and my mom was like, "See, that's why I didn't get married." Like, awesome. That's your logic. Congratulations. But. Yeah, I mean, exciting stories. I don't know. The thing that I think was most exciting for me when it comes to past and my family is that there's 8 years difference between me and my sister. And since I remember, and till the moment I actually got my sister, I wanted a baby sister. I didn't want a brother. I didn't want a sibling. I wanted a sister. So there is a lake with a small island, and on this island there is a small church called Bled in Slovenia. It's very famous.
It's beautiful.
So I even made my family take me to that church, because if you ring the bell, your wish comes true. So I went there. I was like 5, 6, and I rang the bell, and I wished for a sister.
Oh, wow.
And I got my sister. When my parents discovered my mom is pregnant for the second time, they asked me what I'm going to do if it's going to be a boy, if I'm going to get a brother. And I'm like, well, that's your problem, not mine. You can take him back. As a kid, an even smaller kid than I am now, my mom can tell you that I always got my way, and I got my awesome sister, and she's exactly what I wanted. She's just the best. What my mom wanted for us was that we get along. And 2 days ago, we had a group phone, like FaceTime. And I don't know, something happened. And I said something, and my sister was like, yeah, just leave her alone. Like, I'm on her. Basically, she was on my side immediately. And my mom's like, you always stick together. Like, it's just impossible. And the funny thing about this is that 5 minutes after we finished the phone call, my sister calls me, and she's like, so did you go and do it? I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay. I just wanted to check if you're actually okay. I'm like, all fine. So, it's always the stick together, but honestly, like there is still the truth behind everything. Yeah.
And Maruska, there's another beautiful thing about your mom, which is that she's very much into theater and acting. How does that? Is that a hobby of hers?
So when my mom was finishing, so my mom in high school was a part of a theater group and was amateur actress, and she was very good at it. we still have these gorgeous black and white photos of my mom on stage. She was just a natural. And when she was finishing high school, there was a question of what to study, and one option was actually go and do drama, but then medicine took over. So even though she's a doctor now, we're still regular visitors of theater, and we all love it. And she instilled the love for books and poetry in me and my sister. So yeah, there was always this appreciation of beautiful and smart when I was growing up.
Let's jump into Mama Zlatka's lessons, will we?
Let's
do that. What would be the first one you'd like to share?
So I have to start with a lesson on relationships, because this is one that I probably repeat to myself in my head on a daily basis since she said it to me about 5 years ago. And that is that you have to work on love. It doesn't happen to you. You have to choose it. You have to choose love, and you have to work on relationships, and you have to put effort into this, and you need to choose your partner. Because if you do not choose, someone else chooses you. And that's always bad news. You have to be the one making a choice, because that is the only way that you can actually work on love that you can give and deserve.
I love that one. That's very original and very important. We never had that one yet.
And I can tell you, so this is a personal experience. She said that to me. I remember, so it was February. It was about 5 years ago. I remember where we were standing. We were shopping. We were grocery shopping. And she said that to me. And a month later, I ended a very bad relationship that I had no idea how to get out for years. And a month later, I was like, you know what? I'm going to choose myself a partner. and it was probably one of the best decisions I've made.
Wow.
And and it stuck with me. It stuck with me. And I've been repeating this lesson to my friends and to my to acquaintances, and this is definitely something I'm gonna bring back to my kids.
Have you seen her work on love? Would you know what it means from an example?
I told you, she said no several times when proposed.
Okay.
And she's been single for the past 10 years, and working on love doesn't just mean a romantic partner. You also need to, and this is the second lesson that I think is very, very important, and that is that you have to love yourself.
I love this. I love this, that work on love also means work on loving yourself.
Because what she said to me, and I just got goosebumps, because when you asked me about lessons that I got from my mama, you know what I did? What? I called my mother and I was like, can you give me the lessons you want me to have for the rest of my life? And she's like, why do you need this? I'm like, I'm just asking. It's like, no, Maruska, you never do anything just because. Like, there's always a reason. I'm like, oh, oops, you raised me. But this whole notion of you need to love yourself, because this is the only way that you're going to end up in an environment that is good for you, and you're appreciated and respected and loved as well. It was just like this basis of everything that ever came from my mother's mouth, Like, you need to take care of yourself. You need to love yourself. You need to respect yourself. You cannot repeat this often enough, because there's so much love that we give, but we don't give to ourselves. And she kept, like, every time, so when there's question about, do I want to spend money on this, or do I want to travel, or do I want to go to this really great private but expensive school, or am I gonna be just satisfied if I do something else? What she would say to me and to my sister is, you need to have a nice time. You need to have a beautiful time. If you don't enjoy your time, then nothing else matters. Because for her, what she said to us is that if we are not enjoying our life, then her life doesn't matter. Why is she working? Why is she doing all this if we are not happy? When she gave us the lessons, when she said these things, I was like, yeah, actually that is very, very true. If you love yourself, it just comes natural that you end up in an environment that will feel the same about you.
Yeah, because that's the one that we keep on learning about, how the way you treat yourself, you're going to be treated by other people, which really, really is true. And I have a quote here from you that says, nothing matters if you're not happy with your life, which is also very, very important and beautiful as one of her lessons. Is there more?
Yeah. I mean, there's of course more. This is my mom. One thing that I also think that is really, really important, and again, like I wrote these lessons down for myself because I want to pass them on to my family one day. And one thing that I thought was really important and always came natural, but I never saw it as a lesson, was that if you talk about people, only say good things. Don't engage in gossip. Don't engage in spreading bad stuff. If you're asked, share your opinion, but share the good stuff. And you always have to protect those that are weaker than you, because this makes you honest, but it also gives you integrity, and you keep your dignity because of this. And I thought really, like, really deeply about this. Because I try to stay away from meaningless gossip. I, on purpose, don't have a TV. I don't watch the news. I don't try to feed off all the bad that is happening. And now that I saw, like, that I had these words written down in my notebook, I understood where they came from. This whole, you need dignity, you need to spread the good and focus on that, because this is the only way that we can actually all live together the way we should, and makes you honest. That made a lot of difference in my life, I think. Professionally, personally, the fact that I could always focus on the good rather than everything awful that is happening around us. Especially now in the past few months. Yes, you have to be realistic. These are the problems. But if you have this mindset, if you're taught this mindset, instead of complaining, instead of focusing on the negative, what you can do is seek solutions.
And concentrate on the good.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not trying to say that, ignore everything awful that is happening and just, because that would be the opposite of the lesson, because she says, and she kept repeating my whole life, like, you have to protect the weaker.
Yeah.
People have a lot to offer if you let them. This was also one of the lessons that I kind of took for granted because it was always present. And that is that no matter what, you always have to work on getting knowledge, learn. You need to learn. And once you learn something, you need to learn more. Because this is the only thing that no one can take away from you.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. Experiences and learning, yeah.
Knowledge, learning, experience. These are the only things that people cannot take away from you. And what she keeps saying is that you should never allow anyone to doubt your knowledge. If you know something, you have to be proud of it and show it. And this is, and I think this is really well interconnected with love yourself. Because if you love yourself, and if you're proud of yourself, and if you are proud of who you are as a person, then you can show what you actually know and what you're capable of. Because you know that if you speak up, people will listen to you and respect you. And this makes so much difference in life, to be heard. Not just because for me, being loved in a lot of cases just means that someone actually hears me, not listens to me, but actually hears me. And all these lessons that she gave us, that she's passing on to us, there's just one. I mean, they all come down to one thing, right? Like, it's all love.
Yes,
And
it is all love.
like,
Yeah.
choose your partner, love yourself, be proud of your knowledge,
love others,
and love others. It's just, it's basically love in 4 different categories that all leads to one thing. How to be happy with yourself and how to be happy with the people that are in your life.
Spread happiness, spread joy.
Yeah.
Is there anything you wish she had taught you? Anything that she was not able to teach you? That
yes. So my grandmother, my mother's mother, was a huge influence on my family, and she was the glue that kept us together, because my mom, my grandma, my sister, and I, and our dog, who's also a girl, we are a package deal. You get one, you get all of us. and my grandmother, who unfortunately passed away a couple of months ago, was the reason why I consider myself feminist today is my grandmother. The first day of elementary school, I was 6, when everyone else was told to obey the teachers and listen. My grandmother came to me and she was like, "Maruska, come here." I'm like, "Yes." The ponytails and all cute in my dress. And she's like, "Maruska, listen, if someone does something to you, hit twice as hard back, and then and then you will discuss it." And I was like, "Okay, grandma." I went back in line. And that was the lesson that I was getting every day from my grandmother. The reason why my mouth is so big, the reason why my character is so colorful, and and I'm passionate about stuff, and I'm loud, and I'm not afraid to express myself, is that I learned at a very, very young age that someone is always gonna stand behind me. And this was in complete disagreement with how my mom said to me countless times that we live in a man's world, and I always resented that. Because you cannot say that. You have daughters. Even if you think that, you cannot say that. You have daughters. Because just because we are not in agreement and we don't allow ourselves to be undermined or disrespected, you shouldn't either. You should be proud of who you are. And we've been having these discussions since I'm not going to say I'm an adult, but since I'm not officially a child anymore, we've been discussing this a lot, because I always wished that my mom would recognize how awesome she is and all the things that she has to say and how people see her, because my mother, as sweet and nice as she is a natural leader and a natural authority. People listen to her. I haven't met a person in my life, knock on wood, who would say no to my mother. And I wish that she recognized that. I really do. And the other thing that I would be hoping that my mom would teach me, and she didn't, is how to deal with money.
But it's with my mom the same. They grew up in a communist country. So money was very different. Finances, were very different for them.
Because of that, they should teach us how to deal with money. Because if you know how to deal with money, you have absolute independence. Again, we had this conversation a few weeks ago before we discussed this podcast. I was like, you know what? Like, if I ever have a daughter, the first thing I'm gonna teach this child before she goes to school is what is money. Because that is the one thing that, yes, of course, everyone can take away from you, but we need to be honest about something, right? It gives you the opportunity to get more knowledge and to work on yourself. And this idea of absolute independence and not being dependent on someone, whether that is a partner or your family or your friends or the government in certain systems, it gives you so much power. Freedom is power. I do think this was one thing that was missing, and I wish we acknowledged that. But I mean, so Anna, my mom is a doctor. She's all about helping people. If you go to my mom and you say, I need a doctor, how much do you charge per hour or for this and that, service? Like, here's a check. She's going to say no, because this is against her nature. She chose this profession to help people. It always breaks my heart when I see in the news, how doctors just want to be rich, or how much they earn, or this resentment towards medicine. Like, you know what? No. No. As long as there is one person who is there just for the sake of helping others, we should not be saying these things.
Well, Maruska, that was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the invitation. I am definitely gonna send my mom this podcast, so she finally has her answer of why I needed the lesson.
Oh, she doesn't know yet?
No, she doesn't know. She doesn't know.
So let me say hi to Mama Zlatka and thank you for her awesome lessons. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, not about the lessons, but just that I've been following this podcast and the quotes that come from the podcast. And wow, ladies, all of you, Mama Jagoda that started all this, and everyone else. I mean, there's so much we can learn from our mamas, and I hope there's going to be a book about this.
No, I'm crying. Thank you. Me too. I'm so deeply touched with this. It's so incredible. The guests and their moms and the lessons. I am deeply emotionally touched. I started this podcast knowing it's going to be awesome, but I didn't know how awesome it's going to be.
Look, Anna, you made this happen because of where your heart was. It was, destined to be awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Maruska, let's just recap. I'd like to recap at the end the lessons we talked about. Do you want to do this, or would you like me to do that?
Please go ahead.
So we had as the first lesson that you need to work on and for love, and that you have to choose your partner, otherwise you will be chosen. That you also have to love yourself. If you talk about other people, say good things. And I want to put kindness in there. To always work on getting knowledge, because your knowledge and your experiences is something nobody can take away from you. And I'm taking as something you wish she taught you is finances, dealing with the finances, not being afraid of your own strength. So recognizing your own power and your own strength. And am I forgetting something?
No.
This is it?
No, I think this is it.
Maruska, thank you. Thank you for being a guest and a listener. I know that you've been following and one of the first listeners.
Hey, the pleasure was mine. I was so glad when I saw that this podcast is coming to life. I know that you were thinking about it and working about it on it for a long time, and then it just emerged one night, and it's just amazing. And thank you so much for the invitation. It was really a pleasure to participate, and I hope that the lessons from my mama will touch more people, not just me and my sister, because I think these things are very important and should be shared.
And as you said, we're going to make a book out one day, and it's going to be beautiful.
I see strawberries on the cover.
Strawberries and hearts.
Oh yeah. All about love.
Yeah. Thank you again, Maruska.
Thank you too.
If you enjoy Thank You Mama and want to help it grow, please take the 2 seconds to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps. If you'd like to get in touch, you can send me a mail at info@thankyouMama.net. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter under Anna Tajder. That's Tajder. This was Thank You Mama. Come back next week, subscribe, and tell your friends.